Okay, so welcome back. It's been a minute, and as you can see by the title of this video, I'm almost turning 23 years old when this video comes out. I think I probably will be. It's currently Wednesday, and it's my birthday on Sunday, and I'm going away. So I thought I'd make this video in advance to get 23 lessons out that I've learned at turning 23. And as with this year, and as with a lot of years throughout my kind of short existence, so to speak, 23 years is not too long, really. And I feel like I've learned a lot in a short space of time from the lessons that I've been through, and I want to share them with you. And I feel very different compared to where I was last year, turning 22. And I feel like for someone who's on that kind of journey of developing themselves continuously, you kind of always feel like you're growing within 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, especially within a year. And over the last year, I've experienced a lot again. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things, but most importantly, lessons. And that's what life is all about. Learning is one continuous journey that we're all on. And that's what makes life very beautiful. I think we should always be learning and always want to learn. And I think that's actually one of the lessons I have for you in this. But I don't want to make this video too long because I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to try keep this under 30 minutes. So yeah, I'll get into it because there's 23, so that's pretty much going through one a minute. So the first one, maybe the most important one, and I've said this numerous times on this channel, is not rushing and acknowledging that the journey is the destination. So what do I mean by this? So a lot of us rush into anything in life, whether that be their career, whether that be relationships in particular. I think that those two are very specifically that a lot of young people go down and rush into things that they're probably not too certain on. I especially see within relationships for a lot of young people, they kind of go into things a bit, naive, not knowing really what they want, but not wanting to be alone and going through that kind of uncomfortable, paradox where you're in a situation where you're on your own, but it's not very nice. But I could be with someone who would probably be with me, but they don't make me that happy. And even in a career sense or finances or whatever it may be, there's always going to be another thing. There's always going to be the next one thing after another. And whether you think that's a reality of your situation now, it will be the case, because I've been through a lot of things that I feel like that is kind of the end goal, whether that be kind of building a body in the gym that I've thought, would make me happy, whether that be, getting to a certain level on YouTube, or, there's a lot of things, little things that you will look at in your life, and you can probably think of them off the top of your head right now, where you're like, okay, I achieved this goal and I thought it would really make me fulfilled and satisfied. Whereas it didn't quite work that way. And that's very important, just, take time. I said obviously celebrate like little wins and stuff, and I think that's very important, because you're going to keep going as long as you're fit and able to, and I think you always should. You should be, striving on to one thing after another, and just enjoying that journey and not rushing for anything, because there's always going to be one thing, especially when you're so young. You've got so much time ahead of you to go and make something special from your life, so don't rush that. Number 2 is competence creates confidence. So if someone told me this at like 16, 17 years old, and I really got the grasp of it, it could have completely changed the trajectory of my life at this age, where I was completely just lacking confidence in every aspect of my life. I was very, very shy, had no self-esteem, no self kind of confidence or belief in myself, and it was very challenging growing up in school. Not very nice at all. I didn't enjoy that, and I always wanted to be someone who was seen as confident, probably more than actually being confident. And that's probably a big problem with society today, that a lot of people want to seem a certain way rather than be a certain way. I think there's a lot of people out there who kind of fall down that rabbit hole. But anyway, being competent at something will naturally make you confident. And I think I really learned, along as many other lessons with starting the gym, is that couldn't be more true, really. When it comes to, building a body, building something that I felt, confident with, it took a lot of time, and I had to go through a lot of hardship, go through stuff that I didn't really want to, go to the gym when I didn't feel like it, go, work out when I was really skinny in front of people where I thought they were judging me, struggling to eat, struggling to gain weight, all of this stuff. And, that kind of has paralleled with my just day-to-day life and being bad at things and just kind of sucking it up and being like, yeah, this is just how it's going to be for a while. But a lot of people just don't really want to go through those times where it's not nice and you're not very good at things and be like, okay, well, I'm not good at it, so I'm going to give up. Because that's kind of what I feel like in school, you're kind of given that mentality. If you're not naturally good at like sports, for example, then you're like, well, I'm not going to try really. I'm just going to give up. And I think that's an attitude that kind of breeds through young people. And you got to like really break it down and be like, well, yeah, I'm not going to be, what are you really, unless you, like I say, naturally very, very talented at something, what were you really good at before, you put hours into something, you put hours and hours training to become better at whatever it may be, whether that's your career, whether that's your body, whether that's trading stocks, something like that, relationships, anything. You have to put work in, go through difficult times, and then come out the other end being a lot more competent in that specific area, and then go do it again for as many areas of you want in your life to become that all-round person, if that's what you want to be. And I'm sure that's what a lot of young people would want to, they would want to be that person in your life. I know I do anyway. Number 3 is having a plan will make you intentional every single day. So I made a video about having a plan, and I think it's so important because a lot of young people don't have a plan. And I think for me personally, my lock screen is literally 3 main goals that I want to achieve this year. And that's always, whenever I look at my phone, that's the forefront of my mind. And you don't have to do this, and you might do it a different way. You might kind of break it down into, shorter goals, smaller goals, and then look at the bigger picture later on. But I look at these goals and be like, okay, so I want to do this, this, and this. I'm not going to, go specifically. Maybe it's like fitness, money, career, relationship, whatever it may be. I would advise to pick probably 3 areas that you can look at, because I think any more than that, you're going to kind of focus too much on different areas, and then you might not even come out with one of those 3 goals at the end of the year, one of those 3 or 4, 5, how many you have. It's better to achieve 2 or 3 main goals at the end of the year than to achieve none, because you kind of scattergunned your focus, and you can't, in the space of a year, you can't achieve loads of massive things. If you achieve 2 or 3 good things, I would see that as a great year personally. I don't know about you, maybe you think you can do more, but especially for a beginner on this journey, then I would definitely advise 2 to 3. And it's okay to like update this plan as things go along, but just having something to work towards every day, it gets you out of bed in the morning. I think this really just stagnated me and made me very, question life and be like, oh, what's the point? I don't have anything to strive towards. And I think that is a massive problem with young people these days. A lot of people don't have that get up and go about them, so to speak, and be like, this is what I want to do in my life, and this is how I'm going to do this. This is the steps required to get there. But anyway, number 4, socializing should never be removed. This is very important because you will see a lot of advice on the internet which is very contradictory of this, about influencers telling you to go into like monk mode and kind of just shutting everything else away whilst you go and achieve these big goals. And I've kind of mentioned some similar stuff as well about monk mode, and I think it, like I say, it does have its benefits. Especially, I've said, if you're someone who's kind of got all your life together and you're at a stage where other things in your life you are happy with, and you have one big goal that you just want to go for, then maybe monk mode is probably going to work for you a lot better. But for the vast majority of people, especially a lot of young people who are still developing, their brains are still quite malleable, and it takes time to figure out who you are as a person. And a lot of people, including myself, I went through a stage of maybe 6 to 12 months where I wasn't very social. I was spending a lot of time indoors, and that just really affected my mental health, and it held me back. And I realised that as a young person, you need to be outside, you need to be meeting new people, you need to be interacting with people on a day-to-day basis. And so do your best. I think it's a hard kind of, it's a fine line to balance between achieving something special, because it requires a lot of sacrifice, but do all you can to still make time to spend time with people you truly love and care about, because I think that's massive. Number 6, hard times are essential to an exceptional life. If you see anyone who actually has an exceptional life on the internet, chances are they have been through hard times, unless they've had like some type of inheritance, or they're naturally, like I say, very talented. That they're pretty much the only 2 ways you will have an exceptional life without going through hard times. Anyone else out there is probably faking it, which the vast majority of people, as sad as it is, and I don't understand really why people do this, are faking it. And yeah, so I think when I look back to some of the hardest times that I've been through, particularly probably the last 2 to 3 years with my mum and a lot of other things going on in my life, that has kind of shaped me into the person who I am today. And I think having that at that kind of 20, 21, 22 years old has been massive, because that's when we are changing so much, and kind of having those changes in your life that aren't really nice, they're very uncomfortable. Even starting this YouTube channel, going through putting videos out there, really kind of struggling, knowing what to say. Like I said, I was a very shy kid, I don't know how to speak on camera, but now I took a bit of a break, so I'm struggling a bit more on camera recently, but to being able to speak quite confidently and articulate on the camera, like you have to go through a lot of hard times, and this is what a lot of people won't want to speak to you about, because they can't sell you a course on going through hard times is pretty much what makes you successful in whatever it is in your life. Anyway, 7, fitness is the backbone of success. And it is for me, for 100%. If I didn't start the gym, I'm certain that would have not been I wouldn't have been able to be the catalyst for the rest of my life. When I look at other areas in my life, I think it all started from going to the gym. And I think it probably is the best thing that I've ever done in my life. And if you are someone in a similar position I know a lot of young guys who struggle with their kind of self-image, look at themselves and think, I'm not good enough, and particularly when you're younger, you feel like I'm not getting girls, I'm not getting the level of attention I want to kind of be recognised, and this is the kind of cheat code, so to speak. It's not a cheat code, but it's the easiest way to get that, you think, anyway, on paper. And regardless of that, I just think having that, being consistent with the gym, it makes you push yourself in other areas of your life. I spoke to this with my friend, and it really gets you be like, I can't let myself slip below a certain standard, because you kind of have built that reputation with yourself in the gym that you don't really see many guys who have really built up a massive physique, aesthetically pleasing physique, or whatever it may be, a body anyway that you can look at and be like, that has took a lot of work to get to. There's not really anyone, because it sends a message subconsciously that if you put that work into your body, the chances are you're probably going to put it into your career, you're probably going to put it into your relationships, you're probably going to put it into etc, improving yourself. It pretty much always correlates, and for me that was a backbone, that was a pillar that pushed me onto other areas of my life that made me want to go forward and push on, because before that I was very much settle for the easiest life and do the bare minimum and get by, and that's a good life. That's what I used to think, but that completely changed. That went out the window when I started going to the gym. Number 8 is doing something uncomfortable every day. And I don't mean do something that's going to hurt you physically. Physical pain in some way can be good, for example going to the gym, lifting heavy weights, really pushing yourself to the limit. But do something that you don't feel that confident doing. For a lot of people, and me included, I need to hold myself accountable to this, is probably going to talk to a woman that I find attractive and just seeing where that goes, because I know a lot of young guys, like I say, myself included, struggle with this. Or for you, it might be asking your boss for a raise, or It could be just going outside, speaking to someone new. I think a lot of it is socializing for a lot of people. But you have to consider in your life, what are you kind of struggling with? And like, if I did this step in my life, it would kind of transform my life. It would make my life a lot better. It would make me into the person that I want to become a lot more. You know exactly what that thing is for you, and you need to go and do that. And if that's one thing you take from this lesson and you go and implement that can transform your life completely. So that was actually number 8. So number 9 is your life should be centered around your sleep. And over the last 3 to 6 months, I'd say, I've really kind of got in on this and really realised the importance of my sleep to my kind of function on my day-to-day life. So 8 to 9 hours is what I would recommend you getting every single night. And I think everything else in your life, your career, your fitness, your relationships, should be centered around this. And a lot of people think this is quite extreme. But if you want to perform the best in your career, if you want to have the best relationship, if you want to hit the weights heavy and feel good about yourself, just in general, waking up feeling good, you have to center your life around sleep. I see it time and time again with people who are sleep deprived and their body clock's all over the place. They're just not in a good kind of frame of mind. They're not able to function and do the things that they want to do. Like, it really is that important. And just being like, I would advise you, if you are working, say, a job that's late nights, or you're doing whatever till late nights, or getting up like ridiculously early, I would advise just cutting that out and finding something different that you can center around your sleep, kind of going to sleep. Like, it doesn't have to be a specific time, but maybe 10, 11, waking up at like 6, 7, 8 a.m. Around those sort of times where you get an 8 to 9 hours sleep, you're going to feel the best, because like, it's within our circadian rhythm, and that's what we need to kind of be sticking to. Like, you hear people say, oh, well, I'm a night owl, but I don't know if that's an actual thing, to be honest with you. I think that could be just a bit of a cope for people who have bad habits. I don't know. I'm not going to say, there probably are a few, but I think for 95%, and probably you watching, if you are someone who thinks you're a night owl or you stay up late, I think your life would be so much better. You'd feel so much happier and you get so much more done if you went to bed and woke up at a similar sort of time every single day. Number 10 is becoming wealthy is not about money. And this is a great example of seeing a lot of people on social media who present themselves in a certain way. And every young guy wants to be an Iman Gadzhi. They want to be in Dubai. They want to be with the flashy cars. They want to be around all the women. They want to have the body. They want to be in the sun. They want to be making money online. They want all of this. Andrew Tate, another great example. And I, again, fell down that trap too. And being wealthy, what I mean more by wealth and money, you see a lot of these guys that may be very wealthy, who knows how wealthy they actually are, but are they generally like happy in their life? And for me, money is probably maybe like 30% of what wealth actually is. I would consider your health and your kind of freedom to do what you truly value in your life, and pursuing meaningful goals is a wealthy life. And you see, I feel like the people who say they have the most money and have to kind of flash it in your face, they're probably not really like that wealthy, and they're probably not in a great place mentally either too. And that's a very important point to consider. And like I say, I've traveled to places where people have no money at all, and I've seen people there a lot happier than a lot of people I see who so-called think they have it all, especially on social media, and have all this money. They don't seem very happy, and they don't seem to live a very wealthy life. And this is another good example. If you're someone who's just spending all day working in your life, and you don't have any time to kind of actually do the things you want, you've got to think, what am I creating this level of money / wealth in my life for? It's got to be for a reason. It can't just be something that you're just doing because it's an addiction, and that's what happens for a lot of people. Anyway, number 11 is traveling gives you a new perspective. So traveling has been a massive part of my life over the last few years, something I've experienced heavily with my family, and I really do enjoy traveling. Even sometimes recently where I've been like, oh, I don't know whether I should go away because I kind of want to focus on something else, and it will take me out of my rhythm, I won't be able to hit the gym and little things like that. But as soon as I get there, wherever it may be, I just really do enjoy it, and it really opens my eyes, not just to the place I'm going, but just it kind of gives me that introspectiveness in my life where I probably need it at that moment where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? What can I is this actually fulfilling for me? Am I going to the places that I want to go in my life? And just having that reflection, and especially if you are someone who is in that kind of very mundane kind of routine, whether you like it or not, because I do like my routine. Some people would hate it, I know, like it's not exciting on the eye anyway. But you need to have those moments where you go away, even if it's for a few days, and it can just give you that kind of refresh, and yeah, just give you a different perspective, whether that be the place you're staying or just for your life anyway. Anyway, I'm running out of time, so let's get on to this a bit quicker. So 12, cutting out all negative people in your life. This is massive and something that I know most people that I speak to have someone in their life, and you probably know that person straight away. Someone comes to your mind when I'm saying this, cutting out negative people in your life. And you have to do this. For a lot of years in my life, when I was like growing up at school and even till a couple of years ago, I'd have people in my life who would just bring me down. And particularly growing up in the UK and growing up in kind of a small town in England, it's very much everyone kind of wants to bring you down in some way because it doesn't make them feel good. When you kind of do something against a book, even starting a YouTube channel, people look down on you, they laugh at you, but most of it probably comes from envy and jealousy, and it's because they kind of wish they could put themselves out there and do something different and go kind of against the bell curve, but a lot of people can't. And whoever that may be, whether that is your intimate relationship, and this is a big one, because a good way to think about the person you are with is it's as simple as, if they were your friend, if they were your male friend, would you want them to be your friend, your girlfriend currently, or whoever it may be? Would you truly want them as your friend? Do they actually offer you anything? Because for a lot of guys, the answer is, well, I know I wouldn't want them as a friend because they're not reliable, they don't have the same interests as me, they don't have the same values as me, they don't work anywhere near as hard as me, we don't, if they were my friend, I wouldn't be interested in seeing them, but just because I'm attracted to them physically, that's why I'm with them. Something to consider anyway. Number 13, invest conservatively as early as you possibly can. Got there in the end. So this is something that a lot of famous investors will probably tell you. If you look at someone like Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett, they will tell you heavily the importance of investing early and the compound effect. We all kind of know about this. I've made a lot of videos about money and how to build wealth, and I think the earliest you can start this, the better. For example, investing in the S&P 500, just investing a few £100. I've made videos about this. You can go check this out in further, where I've told you like how much you can make just from putting in a couple of £100 each month. Like, you can make a lot of money from this, and that can really just transform your life. And if I knew that a bit early, obviously I've learned it quite young. I'm 22, turning 23. But the earlier you know this and just start to chip away at something like the S&P 500, safe stocks, whatever it may be, stuff that you pretty much can almost guarantee is going to increase over time, then you'll be in a very good financial situation 10 to 20 years down the line, and you will probably have money that you would probably never imagine. It really can compound that much. Number 14 is delaying gratification for a couple of years will completely transform your life. So once I first discovered self-improvement, delaying gratification was a big talking point. A lot of YouTubers you'd see make videos about delaying gratification, the benefits it had. There's a lot of science on it too. And I can't underestimate the importance of this. And if it wasn't for me changing that mindset from kind of going from that pleasure to pain mindset, not completely like everything has to be painful. I can't go through any pleasures. I've got to sacrifice everything in my life. But I realised that a lot of the pleasures that I had in my life, whether that be drinking or eating a lot of junk food or just not really working hard towards anything, was not actually really what I wanted to do in my life. It was just from bad habits that I developed over time, and it took a while to kind of transform this. But once I was able to do this, I kind of realised that delaying gratification was actually something that I enjoyed, and something that a lot of people you would probably do this too. For example, like gym, investing, and just other things in your life. You're like, this is kind of nice that you slowly kind of seeing the results, and after a year or two you will see the results by, I don't know exactly how much you will see, depends how much work you've put in over those years, but you will. And once you start to see this, you'll be like, well, this is gonna pretty much keep happening for the foreseeable future. And it really will for the first 2, 5, even 10 years if you really put that consistent work in. So number 15 is experiencing the pleasures of life as early on as possible in your life. So for example, I went on a lad's holiday and I didn't like it at all, but it was something that was in the back of my mind for a couple of years and something I thought I should experience. And if it wasn't for me experiencing this, I wouldn't have came out the other side knowing that this is pretty much shit. I don't want to do this at all. And I think that's very important, because you see a lot of guys get a bit older, maybe go to 30, and they haven't experienced some of those things that a lot of us experience at, say, 18, 19-year-olds in the UK, maybe a bit older in the US. And they're kind of like, oh yeah, they kind of go and overdo it, and I think they feel, and they definitely look a lot out of place. Like, you might really enjoy it at that age, but whereas a lot of people will tell you, you should work hard and stuff while you're young, and then cut all of this stuff out. But I truly think I wouldn't be where I am today without experiencing those things myself. So I would advise you to do it just short term, get it out of your system, realise, this isn't very good, and stop doing it after that. Because a lot of us do know that anyway, but most people still do it anyway, unfortunately. But if you can just cut it out as soon as possible, it will make it a lot better, and then you can be like, I've done it, I moved on, I know it's not for me. Number 16 is making an effort with everyone you meet. So however big or small the interaction may be, whether you're just walking down the street or whether it's a massive kind of social setting, which might feel somewhat uncomfortable if you're someone like me who is quite introverted and has struggled a lot socially at a younger age. I just think it can make a massive difference, not only to the other person. It's probably what naturally you would think. You'd be like, oh yeah, it's going to make them feel better, isn't it, if I speak to them and just ask them how they are. Of course it is, which is definitely probably the main reason why you should be doing it. But also from a selfish reason, you should do this because it will make you feel so much better socially. It will just kind of lube you up, so to speak, and every time, the more kind of interactions you have, it just makes you feel a lot better inside. And then also, when it comes to someone you really want to have an engaging intellectual conversation with, it will just make it so much easier when it comes to that interaction if you've just spoken to everyone anyway. So that's something that I've really tried to implement over the last few months, and some days I'm not as good at it, some days I'm a lot better, but just try and it will just make you, I can guarantee you, feel a lot better, and a lot better socially as well, and also for that other person too. Number 17 is having an intimate relationship is bad 90% of the time at our age, at a young age anyway. So some people may disagree with me, but from what I've seen, for a lot of people my age, a lot of friends I've had, it just doesn't really go very well when young people try and form an intimate relationship. I've been through one kind of serious somewhat when I was a bit younger. I was around 17, 18 years old. It was 2.5 years, but it didn't work, and the signs were there very early on, and it should have ended a lot sooner than it did. But unfortunately, a lot of people are in a similar situation to the one I was in, and they kind of know it's not really right. They fall out a lot. They're not really happy, but again, there's that comfort element, and it's like, well, I don't know if there's better out there and all of this stuff. But for a lot of people, the best thing to do is kind of just, hold back and wait a bit and realise that I need to become the version of myself that I want to be with to attract the person that I want to be with. It sounds simple, but I know it's a lot harder said than done. But it's going to cause you a lot more kind of like heartbreak and emotional energy just lost being with people who aren't right for you, and it's going to affect them too, and you can waste a lot of time and money. And I think it's important to experience meeting new people and trying things, but definitely don't rush into something very serious and intimate at a young age, because chances are most people, there will be people out here watching it and be like, yeah, but I have this and this, and it doesn't apply for you. But for most people it just doesn't work at all. Number 18 is having an attitude to learn, and I think this is massive, and something the last year or so I've really, everyone I speak to, even if I don't agree with them or think what they're saying is probably not really that true or relevant to me or whatever it may be, but I always want to learn. I always try and speak with people who I think are more intelligent than me, because I don't think I'm a very intelligent person at all. I look at people who are that and I'll be like, okay, what can I learn from this person? This guy is probably more intelligent than me. He probably can make better decisions. And I feel like that has somewhat also developed my intelligence. And regardless of who it is, I just think always having that attitude that I want to learn new things is massive. And it's what keeps you going. If you think, because you see a lot of people who think they know it all, and even younger guys, and you're just like, come on, like there's so much more to learn. Even if you've experienced a lot and you're very like academically smart and stuff, there's a lot to learn. And yeah, I would really advise that. And number 19 is something that I've spoken a lot about, is business and careers and stuff. So number 19, I've got jobs are important. So I've made videos in the past kind of saying that maybe 9 to 5 is not the best route for a lot of people. But what I mean more by jobs are important, I feel like for a young person, getting that experience, particularly in a social setting, is so important. And I see a lot of younger people start 16, 17 trying to create an online business, and they might even be very successful with it. But the things they aren't developing, very social skills and kind of going through, like I say, harder times and things that you don't really want to do, I think that's very important. And even if you do it for 6, 12 months, however it may be, however long it may be, I think that's very important for you. So I would advise, especially when you're younger, to go out there, go into the workplace, even if it's jobs that you don't particularly enjoy, and get some experience, whether that be not, even if that's not what you want to do long term, just for yourself, because I think it will help you grow. And yeah, even make you more aware and be like, well, this is not what I want to do, so I'm going to work a lot harder on something else that I do care about. But for a lot of people, jobs are probably the best answer. Number 20 is limit social media time and increase time spent in the real world. Unfortunately, we live in an era now which is social media dominated, and younger people coming up now don't really know any different. They don't know what it was like without a smartphone. And luckily, I was kind of the last of that generation who still had somewhat of a childhood. I'd still go out and play when I was younger, play football a lot and enjoy. But when I got to about 13 or 14, social media became very prevalent within schools, and a lot of people had mobile smartphones by this age. But you see 6, 7, 8-year-olds having phones now, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And it's really affecting, like I've spoken with a lot of these points, people's social skills. And I think this is a massive reason why a lot of people are unhappy. And when I've kind of broken it down, and I'm going to make a video diving a lot deeper into kind of social media and another element. But my decreased time on social media 100% correlates to my mood, how good I'm feeling, how much I want to socialize with people. And I've really tried to get that down to like 1 hour, 2 hours a day. I know that's not great, and some people might think that's bad, but when I was up to like 3.5 hours a day, it's some progress. And if you can just decrease that, I know some people need it for their jobs or whatever, but you know what you're using it for, and when you're using it for the wrong things, you know that, and just try and cut those things out as much as possible. So number 21 is dressing well makes you and others see you in a certain way. So I've kind of been quite anti designer clothes and spending lots of money on stuff like this, and I still kind of do stand by that point. But I think it's always important to present yourself in a certain way, and particularly if you're someone who you're going for a type of a career, or you're going for like a job interview, it's going to be massive if you present yourself smart and in a certain way that's going to kind of give them, the employers, a bit of an unconscious bias towards you. And also, if you're trying to attract a certain caliber of woman into your life, whether that be a relationship or probably even just trying to make friends, like dressing a certain way, presenting yourself well is gonna aid you. It's definitely not gonna put you at a disadvantage, is it? And I think just kind of finding that balance between not overdoing it, just looking very smart, presentable, no like kind of flashy designer brands that kind of just make you look a bit like desperate for attention, which that's kind of how I see it a lot of the time. If it's be like very subtle with it and just look smart, don't need to spend a lot of money, like I say, but take pride in your appearance. Number 22 is never lie. So something that I've learned a lot over the last couple of years is that lying really doesn't get you anywhere. Even like smaller, I've never really been like a massive liar, anything like that at all, but even smaller things have really just come back to bite me some way when I've lied about something. And obviously, yes, I'm not a saint or anything like this. I'm not like 100% honest with absolutely everything, but even just, you know, not lying, but maybe not saying the exact truth always makes you feel a lot better. And if you can just try and avoid this as much as possible, just don't lie about things you don't need to lie about, particularly when it comes to like your family and friends. It just, when I've found out that someone's lied to me, it really makes me look at them a different type of way. And I'm sure if anyone's found that out about me, or someone, or you found that out about your friend or someone else you care about, you just feel quite disappointed. So just try your best. Like, there's no need to lie about a lot of things, and particularly when you grow up and become mature, it's not going to get you anywhere, and it's not going to make you feel very good too. And like I say, it won't help with any relationships, especially in the long term. So number 23, and I feel a very good way to end this video, is to enjoy your life and remember that self-improvement is holistic. So, like I say, I'm going away to Madrid this weekend. I'm going to enjoy myself. It's my birthday. I've been working quite hard. I've been kind of just in my routine, as I said, for the last 6 months. I haven't really gone out and done a lot. So I feel like, you know, have a few days and just enjoy myself. And this is something that I've very much realised after kind of falling for that self-improvement trap, where you feel like I have to be doing this, I have to be working all day, and anything else is a waste of time, and thinking everything else is bad. It's not like that. And especially as a young person, like I've mentioned heavily in this video, you need to go out there, socialise, meet new people, enjoy your life, because at the end of the day, as sinister as it sounds, we don't know when this is over. Like, our lives could end in a day, and we just don't know. And yeah, I think that's the beauty of self-improvement. You're going to be at it as long as possible once you kind of discover that you can achieve more with your life, and you can become whatever it is that you want in your life. You can go and just steadily chip away at that whilst enjoying your life still. And there's 23 lessons that I have learned turning 23. I'll try and put a picture of all those 23, so you can maybe screenshot it and keep it for memory if that's something you'd like to do. If you want my one-to-one personal coaching link, that will be below. And yeah, like and subscribe. That is all very much appreciated. Gonna try and get a bit more content out over the next couple of weeks, but very busy still. So yeah, keep an eye out for any updates. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.